Alright, story one. Story one. A lot harder than I thought. Stories, they're my stories. Okay, so let's do the potato flat one. So, sometime ago, a few years back, this would have been 2000 and I'm thinking perhaps 2017, 2018, something like that. I was teaching at TAFE. It was a Monday. It was a Monday or a Tuesday. After work, finished work on a Monday or a Tuesday, and it was a winter. I remember it being a strange day. I remember it being a day, weather-wise, that was neither hot nor cold. It was sort of a bit of a blur day. I don't remember, right? If I sound a bit stuffy, I'm getting over the Rona. I don't remember the day being particularly bad or good or anything. I can't remember anything about the actual day at work. I remember finishing work and not wanting to go home. That's probably the biggest thing. That's definite. I can remember driving home and not wanting to go home. Why I didn't want to go home? Probably for quite a common reason why I don't want to go home a lot of times. The reason why because my kids wouldn't be here. So, it usually happens on a Monday. Mondays they go to their mum. So usually Monday evenings and Monday nights, I don't want to come home. Because I come home to an empty house, and it's shit. Cats piss off. Bird sits in this little cage. I don't think we had the bird then, but anyway, I get a bit glum. I get a bit down. But not, yeah, anyway. So, I didn't want to come home. So I just kept driving. Literally drove past home. Drove past home, didn't turn off, and just kept going. And I don't know why, because I hadn't been there. To be honest, I don't know if I'd even been there when I was a kid. Definitely went to Morwell National Park. Vague memories of going out to not really vague memories, but once or twice. It wasn't a place I went often. So anyway, so I've gone to Billy's Creek Reserve, which is at Morwell National Park, but it's not sort of where you'd normally go in Morwell National Park. It's quite it's a common place. People go bushwalking there. And there's a track, quite a wide track, like a access, for management vehicles and stuff. Anyhow, pulled up in the car. I remember being windy at this stage. It was windy. I remember being sort of blustery and windy and had that sort of edge to it, a bit of an edgy weather. Rooibos tea, off the caffeine, which sucks. Back to the story. So I'm walking. No, I'm not even walking yet. Get out of my car and I don't know, right? I don't know why I did it. Got out of my car. I remember I was wearing jeans or something for work, and I took my shoes and socks off, and my shirt and my t-shirt, and just started walking. I just started walking down this path, and why I got half undressed, but I remember feeling good straight away, bare feet. And I remember walking down this track and not knowing sort of that much about it, sort of making a beeline down to the creek, walking through the creek, you know, getting wet feet. Now, I found out a lot of this stuff later about connecting to the earth and earthing in general and dispelling negative energy, which, you know, all falls under the category of woo woo. Nothing wrong with woo woo. I think I'm getting right into woo woo in lots of parts of my life. So this is good. This is, you know, I'm doing something intuitively. Just doing what I feel like I need to do at that time. And so I'm walking through the bush and walking, and you get, anyway, I'm in and out of the creek, I'm on the track, and I get to this place that's called Potato Flat, which is kind of, I don't know, maybe a bit over halfway to the Weir, if people know the track. Anyway, so I get to Potato Flat, and like I said, at this stage I didn't know this area very well. I've come to know it really well. So I wouldn't choose to do what I did next now at that spot, knowing what I do now. But like I said, at the time, this was the first time as an adult I'd been back there, so I had no idea what was going on. So I just cruised. Went through Potato Flat. Potato Flat, the river does a big horseshoe. That's why there's a flat there, and I walked to the end of it, looking for the creek, and I looked up and there's this big hill. The hill just goes up, as hills do. Hills go up. Yeah, groundbreaking discoveries I was making that day. The hills went up. I wanted to climb the hill. Just wanted to climb up this hill. It looked gnarly. You know, there's if you go up there at that time of the day, sort of in the afternoon, you know, like 4 or 5 o'clock, the sun's hitting this face of this hill. The sun's, but the rest of the sort of valley, I guess, is all in shade and starting to get dark. But the sun's up there, so I don't know whether that drew my eye to it or what, but it was. I'm gonna climb up this hill, and so I remember going down into the creek, and I had to, like, the bank drops down quite a bit. I had to, like, drop into this creek, and I was sort of committed by that stage, because to get back out again would have been a really good sort of climb. You know, so I dropped into the creek, gone across the creek, and into blackberries and sort of weedy shit everywhere, and I'm like, oh, I'm committed now. I've got no shoes on, no shirt. I'm just in. I'm into this stuff, and man, it sounds like, yeah. Anyway, I'm into this stuff, and I'm getting prickled and scraped and stuff, and loving it. Just thinking it was the best shit, and I'm climbing up this. Get up. I mean, I hadn't even started the hill yet. Get out of the sort of creek bank, and I start climbing up this hill, because the hills go up, so I got to climb up it. So anyway, so I'm going up this hill, and I'm climbing up the hill, and I can remember the first bit. I'm like, yeah, I'm climbing this hill. I'm climbing, and I see these sort of rocks, just, you know, not huge rocks, but like rocks sort of jutting out of the side of this hill, and I'm like, yeah, I'm going to climb these rocks, that'd be cool. You know, rock climbing. Anyway, I get there, I touch these rocks, they just fall out. Just fall straight out, like, I don't know, just made out of mud rocks or something crappy, not rock climbing rocks. Anyway, so I go up this hill, keep going, and all of a sudden the hills, I don't know whether this is the trick of the eye or whatever, but this hill turned out to be quite steep as, and I'm climbing, and I get to a point where I am hanging on, like I'm digging my hands into the dirt as far as I could. I'm every sort of, I'm not. It's not vertical, but it's steep enough that if I stuff up now, I'm taking a tumble, and I sort of stop at one point and have a bit of a look down where I was, and I'm maybe a third of the way up. I don't know. I was far enough up that I realised if I did fall or slip, that I was taking a tumble, um, and probably at this point hoping I fell into the blackberries, not the creek. The creek's full of rocks and stuff. And anyway, got the adrenaline going. Adrenaline got pumping pretty bad. Like, yeah, good. So I'm climbing and I am diving into this and I'm grabbing onto, and I'm actually happy when I'm hitting things like blackberries because those bastards are in deep and tough. Bits of grass are just pulling out and I'm like going and my heart rate's pumping and it just keep getting steeper. And I'm like, I'm committed and I'm loving it and I'm shitting myself and I'm scared. I am legit scared. Scared. Yeah. Like, not even, yeah, I'm proper. Like this, and I'm loving it. Loving it. Absolutely having a blast. And I just keep climbing. Eventually gets a bit easier. So I come into these spots and find some rocks, rocks, sort of, climb up these rocks, past these like gnarly arsehole gum trees that have been there on this hillside. Old Mr. Gumtree's just looking at me going, "What the fuck are you doing, you dickhead?" There's a perfectly good track. I didn't notice at the time, but there's a perfectly good track about 100 metres away. A perfectly good cut into the side of the hill. You can just walk all out, but piss. Old grannies walk up and everything. And here I am, fighting for my life. I'm not fighting for my life. I'm in my head at that time, this day, no shoes on, no shirt, fighting for my life, climbing, digging my hands in to the earth, hanging on, climbing up. And I kept climbing up and up and up and up and up. And I get all the way to the top. And I sort of come across, it was a bit of an anticlimax really. I got to the top of the hill and wasn't really at the top. But I could see there was a spot, a few hundred metres away that would be the top of the hill, top of the hill proper. Well, that's where I'm going. So I just kept going and damn, when I was I can remember getting to the top of the hill, heading for the top of the hill, and then having to go through all these like gullies and stuff, and I'm fighting away in blackberries and stuff. But I'm just scratched the shit house. Like I've got, just scrapes and shit all over me. I don't even care anymore. I'm just, anyway. Eventually, get to the top of this hill, and I can see Pondage, Hazelwood Power Station was still there. I'm looking out at Churchill, Yanar, that whole plain, that whole flood plain around Yanar, the Yanar Lake when it floods, and just kicked ass. But and I remember stand up there and it was windy, really windy by the stage. Top of the hill was really windy. Usually pretty windy up there, and this wind was just blowing and blowing and blowing, and just I remember just being filled with energy, life. I felt alive. I felt invigorated. I felt powerful. I felt like I'd had this, I felt like I had this adventure. Now, thinking back now about what was so good about that day, really was having this epic adventure 5 minutes from home. No shit, 5-minute drive from my house. In a spot where people walk all the time. Like I said, there's perfect good walking tracks, perfect good paths you can walk. And I'd gone out there and I had this epic adventure. I'd had a mad, kick-ass experience, and I'm just there, standing on top of the hill, blowing a gale, wasn't a master of my domain or any shit like that, but you know, it felt awesome. It felt it was amazing, and that was the start of me going back out there. Like, shit, I go there. I wouldn't say every week. Some weeks, sometimes I go there twice a week, 3 times a week. Sometimes I go there every week for weeks, 6 or 8 weeks in a row, and then I won't go there for maybe a month. I'll be doing other stuff, but I go there all the time. And now I know all those tracks you can walk up. And most of the times I stick to those tracks now. But for the first few months, I was up there all the time, like 2 or 3 times a week, and just going in and out of these gullies and crawling up the sides of hills through like wombat holes they'd made in blackberries and stuff, and I'd be out there for maybe an hour or something, hour and a half, 2 hours. Like, these aren't. I'm not packing a bag to go and do this shit. I'm not planning for it. I'm not taking hours out of my life. I'm just finishing work. I'm just driving out there, and I'm just having these mad adventures. I'm just doing really, really, really cool stuff, and yeah, it was the start of something, you know. And that part of the world, that part of my backyard, Morwell National Park, Blues Creek Reserve, is really special. And I haven't even explored it all yet. You know, I've been out there with my son this week. We've been in isolation, coronavirus. We've both been pretty crook. Staying in the house is really tough. So one day I was like, right, he's feeling better. I'm feeling a bit better. We wanted to get out. Where can we go? Somewhere where there's no one around. You know, I'm still isolating, doing our best, and we go out there, and you know, both of us have been sick, so we're not in prime physical condition. You know, I was conscious that he'd been quite ill, and so we parked in the car park, and we just walked down the path, and we went maybe I'm talking a few hundred metres. We found a spot where we could get down to the creek, and there was a bit of sunshine on the creek bank. We went down there, and we just sort of splashed in the water a little bit. It was a nice day, and you know, we had our shoes off, and we're just walking in the water, and you know, actually to get down there, we had to walk across the log. We walked down the side of the hill, top of the log, walked across this log, down into the creek, and you know, it's awesome. You know, awesome to have that little adventure. And you know, when Jackson said to me, he goes, "Oh, I've never walked across a log before, Dad. Never done this before. I've seen it. I've never done it." I mean, wow, we haven't done it before. And you know, I went across first, and I wanted to hold his hand, and no, he's like, "No, I'm doing this. I'm walking," and it was, you know, and we walked in the water, and he's like, "Oh, the water's a bit cold," but he's into it, and you know, and we walked across, we ducked under the logs and stuff, and we looked around, and we found some. That's right. We actually even found some bottles. So we got these little dug them out of the riverbank, because there'd been some floods through there a few months ago, and just washed up some different stuff, and yeah, basically found a rubbish tip, and we found some bottles that weren't broken, and we dug them out and cleaned them up, and he spent ages with a stick. There's remnants of the Rona coming out, and you know, it was awesome. Anyway, we've been there. Maybe been that long, maybe 45 minutes, hour tops. Come home, and Jackson says to me, my son, "Oh, it's really good, Dad. I feel good. I feel good for being outside in the fresh air, and in the water, in the sunshine." and yeah, that's for me, that's awesome. Yeah, it did. It felt great just to be fresh air, sunshine, and connecting to the earth, and and, and not being complicated. This shit just being so simple. Like, I don't ever need to read a book about how to connect to the earth. I don't need to read a book about how to walk bare feet. You know, someone told me recently it was they call it something walking, fox walking. There's a course you can do on it. There's courses you can do on how to walk barefoot. Yeah, I guess if that floats your boat, you want to learn about fox walking and stuff, go learn about fox walking. I'm sure it'll be awesome. Um, but if you just want to go and do it, um, just don't put your shoes on. It's something that you don't have to do. So it's not even something you do have to do. Oh, I have to do this. No, so you don't. You just don't put your shoes on, and then you're walking barefoot, and you're doing cool stuff. Um, so what's the moral of the story? There's a lot there. Shit, 20 minutes been banging on for. Yeah, well, you know what? Fuck it. I'll moral of the story. Well, now you tell me. Put a comment. Put a comment in the thing. What's the moral of that story? Ramble. Um, you know, I guess that was. Is there one? It's simple. It's just really simple. Doing cool stuff, really, really simple, easy. Just go and do it. Don't plan for it. Don't, don't overthink it. Don't make it harder than it needs to be. Just don't put your shoes on. Take that first few steps, and just go that way, or that way, or that way, or whichever way you want to go. Just go away, somewhere. And just do cool shit. And yeah,